In 2018, Paul Reed Smith released the John Mayer Signature Silver Sky guitar, a Strat style guitar that was very unlike some of their previous offerings. And in 2022, they released the SE version, the import version which became the most popular guitar on Reverb last year. But was this Paul Reed Smith's first foray into Strat style guitars, or was there one they made decades before that kind of has gotten lost to history? We're going to show you the EG bolt-on in just a second. So in the late 80s and early 1990s, Paul Reed Smith was blowing up as a brand. You can kind of see why. Here I'm going to hold up this CE24 from the mid-90s, and this was sort of very much the distinctive style at the time. What really makes this work, in my opinion, is that even though this was an East Coast brand, it was an excellent distillation of a lot of stuff that you saw from California luthiers in the 1970s, dating back through Alembic and continuing on through some of the stuff Hamer did. But these guys really distilled and nailed that dual cutaway shape, but with contours and all of this excellent stuff. You'd see custom 22s, custom 24s, and then this CE bolt-on style became really popular in the 90s. But there was another bolt-on style that they made that was definitely more Fender influenced, and that was the EG bolt-on. Now you'd see ads for the EG bolt-on all the time. This is the one that you'd see in the guitar mags, and they were really prominently pushing the pickguard aesthetic of the instrument, as well as these zero noise coils made by Lindy Fralin, a pickup guru out of Virginia. Fralin had met what Paul Reed Smith wanted out of these pickups, which was a 50s style single coil but with no hum. This is our EG2 from 1993. It's been refinished in a burgundy mist metallic by Boot at B.A. Ferguson Guitars. So no, you will not find another one like this. Sorry. Ours was beat up and in really rough shape, and we decided to give it a refin and have it be this fun color. And here you see the zero noise coil dominoes. It's funny, you see this a lot more prominently now, this kind of pickup, but back then it was pretty uncommon to see this kind of array, this 3x3 domino. This guitar has the Phase 1 winged tuners, and it has the John Band designed tremolo. And then, keeping with Super Strat kind of ethos of the 80s into the early 90s, it has a pretty hot bridge pickup. This is a high output Paul Reed Smith bridge pickup. Measures about 15K DCR. It's definitely hot, definitely dark. Not too dissimilar from something like a Duncan JB. It does create some little trouble here and there in that the output is so different going from the neck to the bridge with this guitar. They really pushed these in, I want to say, 93 to 95. They were kind of an entry-level instrument for getting into Paul Reed Smiths, and most of them were selling around $1,000 to $1,100. I missed out twice on getting an EG. Literally, someone snaked it the day before I would get them. But that was kind of the break-entry point into getting a Paul Reed Smith. Now when you think about affordable Paul Reed Smiths, you're thinking about this Silver Sky SE, which is selling for $850, and it's a lot of guitar for $850. It really feels good. It's really well made. The setup is nice. It sounds good. I mean, if you think about the market for who will be playing this, gigging musicians or people who are intermediate players who are developing along their playing path, this is a really good guitar for getting good at guitar. But yeah, this is very interesting, and there's a lot of differences between the Silver Sky and the EG that are worth pointing out and digging into. So as a lifelong Strat player, I totally get why this is working, because the scale length makes sense, the feel makes sense, the single coils make sense. It sounds just like a really solid, well-made Strat with a nice thick neck that feels good. The radius is fine for chording, and it gives kind of the right amount of resistance when you're trying to play fancy stuff, and it feels like what a Fender player might expect when they would go to this kind of instrument. I think the 25.5-inch scale length versus the 25-inch makes a bigger difference than people think, and you can definitely feel it in how this thing kind of snaps. The impulse of the note and the definition is definitely different just from an extra half-inch of scale length. Who'd have thought an extra half-inch makes all the difference? That's what she said. So why didn't the EG take off? Well, part of it, in our opinion, is the approach of this instrument. The neck shape, the radius, and the 25-inch scale length very much contribute to that classic Paul Reed Smith feel. This feels very similar to a Custom 22 or a CE 22, but less so like a Strat. A Strat has a very particular feel as a result of that 25.5-inch scale length, and a classic Strat with a 7 1/4 radius has definite more feel when you're making shapes and chords. The neck shape here is a little bit more U-shaped, as opposed to more of a classic C or a thick C. Basically, between the neck shape, the feel, the responsiveness, the hot bridge pickup, and the overall aesthetic, the EG kind of felt a little bit like a shred guitar that came out during the grunge era. I'll definitely say this thing plays like a motherfucker. It flies. I end up playing so much crazy shit on this thing. We're gonna have to bleep it out if necessary, but it's I mean, basically this thing flies. I have found myself playing completely reckless stuff when I can on this thing because it makes a lot of stuff effortless. The man bridge stays in tune incredibly. And we've been able to tame the bridge pickup a bit by putting in a modified split on a push-pull control. And as a result, it's really quite a hell of an instrument. And the Burgundy Mist Metallic is really fun. And it's quite a wild instrument. And I think these sound really good. And Fralin continued to make these as what he calls tone masters. And I think it's a pretty killer design. Hey friends, since we've got this gorgeous guitar out for this video, you might as well track something with it, right? And while I'm here, I'll show you something about our Arigato phaser pedal that I might not have talked about before, which is that we can momentarily actuate it. You can step on the on button for just a moment, step off, and use it to accent certain parts. Check it out. Special thanks to our friends at Sims Music, our local retailer here in Columbia, South Carolina, for loaning us this thing for this video. Thanks, a heck of a guitar. Go see him and play it and tell him we sent you. So, we were going to sell this guitar to help fund some more of this video making content. But I made a crucial mistake. See, I was talking with my 6-year-old daughter about how Daddy was going to make a video and sell a guitar. And she said, not the pink one, and Daddy realized, yeah, I am going to keep this guitar. We'll find another way to fund what we want to do. Check back with us in 7 years. She wants to play this guitar as a teenager. Maybe by then, who knows what she'll be into. Ableton or video games or whatever. But check back with us. We'll see how it's going. But yeah, we're keeping this one for now. Oh, I know what I do. I know what we should sell. I think we should sell the mace. You want to sell another piece of 90s gear? We'll sell this Mace and Boogie instead, you know?